doing? Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review of Top Gun Maverick, a movie released in 2022. The first part of this will be non-spoilers, so you can watch the video if you haven't seen the movie. But I will get into spoilers. I'll give you plenty of warning. So let's get into it. Let's look at some of the details about this movie before I get into my actual review. This movie is rated PG-13. It lasts 2 hours and 11 minutes, which is actually a pretty good runtime for the way the movie felt. This is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who has directed movies like Oblivion, with also starring Tom Cruise, and Tron Legacy. So we also know that Kosinski is very good at legacy sequels, which is though sometimes a sequel that takes a long time to make, like Top Gun. Quick synopsis here. After more than 30 years of service as one of the Navy's top aviators, Pete Maverick Mitchell, Tom Cruise, is where he belongs, pushing the envelope as a courageous test pilot and dodging the advancement in a rank that would ground him. When he finds himself training a detachment of Top Gun graduates for a specialized mission, the likes of which no living pilot has ever seen, Maverick encounters Lieutenant Bradley Bradshaw, played by Miles Teller, whose call sign is Rooster, the son of Maverick's late friend and radar intercept officer, Lieutenant Nick Bradshaw, aka Goose. So we'll get into that a little bit of if you need to watch the original movie for this. Facing uncertain future, confronting the ghost of his past, Maverick is drawn into a confrontation with his own deepest fears, culminating in a mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice for those who will choose to fly. So before I get into the cast, I just want to say I don't feel like you need to watch the original Top Gun for this. I would recommend it. I think there's definitely a lot of the story depends on a lot of the emotions that you may be feeling from the first one. I watched the original a couple of days for the first time before I watched this movie, and actually you can go check out a review for that. We did a retro review. Should be on the channel a little bit when you're watching this. But I rather enjoyed that. So it was definitely something that I was like, let me see what's going on for this Top Gun Maverick. Real quick, I'll go over some of the cast, and then we'll get into the full review. So this movie stars Tom Cruise as Captain Pete Maverick, Val Kilmer returns as Iceman, Miles Teller as Bradley Bradshaw, aka Rooster, Jennifer Connelly, Penny Benjamin, and I'll come back to Jennifer Connelly as well. Bashir Salahuddin as Bernie Hondo Coleman, John Hamm as Admiral Bo Cyclone Simpson. I love everybody's nicknames. Charles Purnell plays Admiral Solomon Warlock Bates. Monica Barbaro plays Lieutenant Natasha Phoenix Trace, and Ed Harris plays Rear Admiral Chester Hammer Kane. So yeah, if you never saw the first movie and you're kind of going into this, Top Gun is the school for like the best pilots in the Navy. They all have call signs and the nicknames that are assigned to them for missions and stuff like that. Tom Cruise in the original movie was one of these pilots. He has moved on and he's gonna come back now to teach the next generation to face, and also to face, his past with Miles Teller playing his best friend's kid, who is now also a Top Gun pilot. So I'll say this right off the bat: this movie is the definition and probably now the standard to what a summer blockbuster should be. It is fun. It is full of big scenes, big action pieces. Yeah, it was such a good time. I did not even feel like I was there for 2 hours. The movie's very well paced. There's like, you're just going from one piece to the next with the stunts and the cast, and there's some laughs and there's some stuff that's a little sad because especially if you watch the first one and you kind of bring some of those emotions in. Like, it's just very, very well done. The characters are very likable. They're very distinct overall. Even if they're all Navy pilots, they're all still very much their own person. Very interesting, and like I said, I think the advantage this movie has over some of the earlier version is there's a lot more action here. There's a lot more time in the air, which is really why you would go see a movie like this. But it doesn't forget about the original stuff that make the first movie great. Starting with the soundtrack, right? Danger Zone, like Kenny Loggins. I think that's probably one of the biggest things. There's also an homage to the volleyball scene redux, I would call it. Just all the stuff you like from the first one, it's in this one plus way more, like a lot more. Um, I did say I wanted to talk about, oh my God, Jennifer Connelly. I don't love Jennifer Connelly. I'm in love with Jennifer Connelly. Her character is super cool, super fun, and I just really like every time she was on the screen. I was like, let's go. And like I said, everyone else just great action, a lot of cool, solid beats. I really like Miles Teller as the focus character that's kind of bringing everybody around them. Um, and overall, there's many. There each pilot like really gets a little moment to shine on the spotlight, which is really cool as well. And that's also, in fact, and it's just thanks to the fact that there was enough air scenes to actually get in there and do a lot of cool stuff. Um, I've seen some interviews with the cast about all the stuff and the diet that they had to keep, which is insane. But I mean, it really pays off in the end. John Hamm is another standout. I think he's great as this. He's like the straight man to like everything else that happens. You know, he's not an antagonist per se, but he's definitely an obstacle for our protagonist. But he's great in the role. Like he really fits in there. As much of a funny guy as I think he is, he also just really fits in this role. Very good supporting roles by Bashir Salahuddin, who plays Hondo, who's kind of like he is part of Tom Cruise's original crew. Like he kind of comes with him. It's really nice to see Ed Harris as well. And yeah, overall, this movie is just so enjoyable. It's full of really cool action scenes, very good, very well paced, just really fun like stuff happening all throughout. Um, and it never forgets kind of about the original version. I think it's always there, but it does remember that this is for a new audience. It's been 30 something years since the original movie came out, so it definitely has to live up to that. But it never forgets. There's so many callbacks to the original movie that don't really interfere with the movie and the flow. I think they're very well done, and they're subtle enough that if you don't know what's going on from the first movie, you like it doesn't interfere with your interaction of the movie. So, highly, highly recommended. I also recommend you check this out in whatever the biggest screen you can is, because unless you're unless you don't like flying, then maybe I would wait for a home release. But you feel every time that the pilots are in the air, you feel like you're there in the cockpit with them. I can't wait to see some of the behind the scenes stuff for this. It's very exciting, just really, really enjoyable. Highly recommend you go check this out. Really fun movie, especially if you still have, you have a couple more days before the summer kicks off. It's Memorial Day weekend, so it's the perfect weekend to take some time, go to the movies. But yeah, that was that. This is my spoiler-free review, and there won't be too much in the spoiler part. There's really no sense in me getting into the action of everything. But spoilers going on from here forward. The only thing I want to mention about the spoilers is I really liked how they handled the character of Iceman coming back, because Iceman was kind of like the last, and that's Val Kilmer's character, and that is kind of like the last anchor that we have to the original movie, right? From everything else, other than Rooster, who's Miles Teller, uh, no one else really has an attachment to Maverick from the first movie. So I really like. I would call it the send off for Iceman, and that was really well done. I love the mission that they have to go on. It's really just all about this one strike that only they can do, and it's about precision and training, but also them coming together as a team. Like it's really well done in the movie. I don't feel like it was forced or anything like that. And yeah, I'm glad it happened. I will say the last sequence, like maybe the last 20 to 30 minutes, whenever Maverick, and like I said, I'm into spoilers. So whenever Maverick gets shot down behind enemy lines and Rooster goes back to get him, and then he also gets shot down, and they steal that plane. That was the part that didn't feel as grand. Like up until that point, I was kind of like in like, oh yeah, this could all kind of happen. That's the part where I kind of felt like this is now a fantastical movie. A little bit more like, right, this is definitely a movie, a blockbuster where they steal a plane and it's like the worst shittiest plane in the world, but they still make it fly. um yeah, Really, really fun stuff. Highly, highly recommend you go check this out. So, as always, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Sundays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, movie reviews, and then we have our live shows most Sundays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So, as always, thanks for watching, everyone, and let's go to the danger zone.
Highway to the danger zone.